edition of What the Fuck Happening YouTube Atheist Community and tiny chatting and such. So anyway, I did post videos of it this time, so it's not too bad. Maybe I'll do some better versions in the future. So we'll see if there's conversation worthy. I don't know. The internet is just so crazy on so many levels. But there is a little bit of news. I mean, things, Darwin's hamster made a couple of videos, but I must say I didn't care for them much. Yeah, one of them was a little bit preachy on the subject of racism and feminism, and kind of like saying you ought to get over yourselves or something, you're just keeping the pot stirring. And I would make the exact opposite argument. The pot got really dull and boring, okay, until cops got really lazy with their guns. Like when they had the big heavy guns with the big heavy trigger, they didn't seem to shoot as many black people. And it's now just when they got these littler guns with more bullets in them that they seem to be able to just pull on that trigger so much easier. They hit it too easy. And they hunt them down in Florida. They walk down the sidewalk and harass them for, 25 minutes and then shoot them. So I mean, who's provoking? Who's re-energizing the paranoia? So I just say, no, it's on Whitey this time, Darwin's hamster, okay? We're the ones that got to get over ourselves and play a fair game. And the women thing is sort of the same thing. It's just that you get these examples now and then where, some woman gets raped in India and murdered on a bus, and somehow it just slides by like that's, shit happens. And it just, and then you see all this Muslim crap going on, and then you hear a few men, meh, she made me get her pregnant. I didn't want to. She made me do it. You find a few women in bathtubs. It seems like this is happening a little bit too frequently. So, again, you can say that they're overreacting. Frankly, if I was black, I think I'd be reacting, my reaction would be, it might even be more maniacal, actually. So, maybe I'd just take points off because they haven't been maniacal enough in their protests. But yeah, it ain't right. And the not right part is on Whitey Manny. Whitey Manny needs to shape up first. He needs to read some Buddha. So anyway, that's my preach on that. I just think this idea of pointing fingers, again, to the people who have, been in the quicksand the longest, and saying they're complaining too much. Yeah, that just doesn't seem right to me. So that's all. It doesn't seem right to me. So anyway, the other book was about some kind of great author, so that's sort of related to whatever it is, butthole guy, Luddite Returns or whatever. So I'll just play the beginning of this video, but he takes a quote of mine out of context, so it's worth just pointing out. But he's such a petty creature.
Stoppenhauer ain't my father. I never read Stoppenhauer. Yeah, plus the fact
so he
that
caught it right there.
Had nothing rational to say about anything anyway.
Okay, so that was an overstatement on my part, right? He didn't have anything rational to say. I guess I should have said that, I did say that he wasn't a very good writer, so let's hear that part.
He wasn't really much of a writer, and he wasn't much of a thinker, in my opinion.
Okay, so now, he just said some kind of crap. He's got to hide his image now. That's all. Schopenhauer would have words for that. A guy, okay, right, he's got 17 kids, and he's still smoking cigarettes. Right? And he's a defender of Schopenhauer, right? Isn't that the ironic joke? He's got literally 7 kids or something, and he's the one going to defend Schopenhauer? I mean, so, yeah, so obviously I have read some Schopenhauer. I read some online, too. I hadn't read Schopenhauer for the first 40 years of my life. I was pleasantly comfortable not even ever knowing his name. But no, look, so yeah, I have both volumes. So I have the red and the blue, Yeah, Right. They are a little different, but one's fatter than the other. Um, but anyway, so so yeah, and I do have pages marked, because it's not like he doesn't say anything well or good. So again, I was a little too aggressive in my critique. I guess I'm just kind of frustrated with these guys because they did write big, long, boring books to say something really, really simple. That suffering be bad, don't cause it. Um, and you're just like, you got to do all that for that, you know. And so maybe if Schopenhauer made videos, it'd be really cool. Maybe if I had to write my stuff, maybe it wouldn't write as well as it talks. Maybe not. I don't know. But they just maybe it's the German translation thing. Maybe that's part of it. It's just the style of the German writers. I mean, all the Nietzsche, all the poeticnism, the highbrow language, the elitism of it all, in a sense. Um, the references to critiques of other works. Stuff that doesn't isn't really a great thing to be doing in a book is to be critiquing something you're assuming everybody else has read. That's kind of annoying. Um, but anyway, but yeah, Schopenhauer has his moments. His moments on the subject. I mean, he spent a lot of time basically dissecting the will, so to speak, and the idea that it's there's no free will. We're products of our environment, all that kind of stuff. So that was all good. But these are all observations that anybody who was an atheist, once you did the God is dead thing, you're stuck with a philosophical void, and you got to fill it with some sort of start to recognize what the mechanism really is, what the animal really is, and then if you kind of have that moment where you somehow get a little courage and you start looking in the mirror, so to speak, and you start analyzing the regurgitation of your own impulses and your own desires, and you just start to and you start looking at that stuff honestly, and you start saying, oh man, what an ugly monster I am, what a selfish cunt. It's the basic machine, and it's and so I'm just saying it starts, and then it just all goes downhill from there in terms of perceiving and recognizing that everything that you perceive is beautiful and magnificent is just a subjective horny. It's just, you're just an ass man or a boob man or a whatever. It just doesn't really mean anything. It's just fucking bullshit that your brain ties together. And it's just your brain tying it together. And even this idea that you need to survive or that humans need to survive, it's all bullshit. There's no real need. It's all just a thing manufactured in your delusions. There's no real need for the human race to be on planet Earth. We perceive the need in our brain. We make it up. There's no fact that says it's got to happen. It'd be horrible, 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 awful, 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 awful if it doesn't happen. There's no rationality or logic that makes that sensible. Now, I guess I would argue that I just said that in a way that was more compelling or interesting than Schopenhauer's version, right? And his version, I guess, was almost tainted because he referenced other bleakists, the bleakest of history. And he would recognize some other bleak person's statement and then just kind of gloss over bleakness as the proper perspective. So in all of this thick stuff, this thick pile of crud, there's only 2 pages of acknowledgement of the real truth. The big one in the room, the big elephant thing in the room is life is really dumb. You're just pursuing idiotic satiation of stupidly created impulses, mostly about possession and conquest. Mostly about deriving ego gratification, saying I am. And this guy is so fucking owned by that. He is so goddamn owned by it. And so it's just so ironic for him to come to Schopenhauer's rescue when Schopenhauer would have nothing but negative critiques for the psychology you have manifested, the clichéness of the traps you fell in. I mean, they're just so cliche. From tattooing yourself with your philosophy, wearing it on your skin, to, the ego of that, to this I know it's a trap, I know it's all psychology, yeah, let's make 7 more of them to squirm around in this thing called civilization, and that is broken. Oh, that's just too fucking brilliant. So again, what is the point of reading these books? What is I could do the red one just for fun. What is the point of reading this shit? Why should reading it even mean anything? Why should you even defend reading it when you gained nothing from the process? It didn't do a damn thing but obviously turn you into a complete asshole. A petty, weaselly, small-dicked, desperate asshole. Right? So why should everybody advocate that anybody read any of this stuff? Because obviously it doesn't fix idiots like you. It doesn't impress you, this big fat fucking book about how you're a stupid psychology desperately squirming through shit and eating it, okay, and that there's no reason you're doing it except because you've been programmed to goddamn do it, and no other goddamn reason. You're just a fucking goddamn coffee maker, for fuck's sake. Alright, that's what the book basically says. You're a shitty coffee maker. You're a coffee maker and you make shitty coffee. That's what the book basically says. What did you learn? Nothing. You just made 7 more fucking coffee makers. Oh, anyway. Yeah, so, fuck the internet. It's full of idiots. Speaking of which, whatever his name used to be, something one or something. Yeah, Determinism 1. Who, I just couldn't find tolerable because he's some sort of anarchist lunatic. So, yeah, who the hell needs that shit? Not the answer. Not even close to an answer. So I guess I'll pick on Hoffladay a little because he said some shit in the stupid chatty thing with Piro. So I did do a response video on the Draft Science channel. There's a couple of response videos. The one to Piro I think is pretty good. It goes down the list of how the world will change, so to speak. When the unification theory is acknowledged. It has been found. When it's acknowledged that it's been found, yes, things will change. Perception will change. Anyway, so yeah, Piro just is insufferably full of shit. I mean, it's like 5-year-old. It's like a room full of 5-year-olds talking about Superman and Batman and Spider-Man. It's just fucking silly. Paramecium Man. Feely dealy sauce. This feely dealy sauce in the ocean. It's all full of feely dealy sauce. It's just wanting to go somewhere. The stream wants to go downhill. The waterfall wants to fall. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, God. You're just, no way. Oh, Jesus. It's just, no, you can't do this. And then Anaconda's just obsessed with this fucking Buddhist Hinduist bullshit. This fucking Eastern loony, fucking philosophy. Just pointless and idiotic. That's where atheists should run. Is for the god of do a silly dance, count to 4, spin around 3 times, and say there's no place like home, and you'll end up in nirvana. Ugh. So where was I? I was Hoffladay, right? Yeah, Hoffladay. Oh yeah, he's just so big on this individual autonomy. I have the right to be wrong. I have the right to be preposterously wrong. I have the right to be insipidly, insanely fucktarded. No, no, you don't. So again, what's the point? What is the point of acquiring something called knowledge, calling something intelligent, if you're not going to do anything with it? The whole point of knowing that something's right or wrong is to apply it as a principle, to apply it in the world. There's no point in saying, oh yeah, we're smart enough to figure out some shit, but we're not going to apply the standard. No, sorry, that's just too fucking stupid. Don't put it to any use. Invent a cure for cancer, but don't use it, because that's messing with the autonomy of the cancer. You know, I mean, sorry, it just doesn't. You know, it just doesn't work this way. It just doesn't. You don't live in your. Well, he is kind of a bubble brained. You know, and you know, he seems to live in his Aspergery bubble of, I don't have to really acknowledge anything's real except for me. Yeah, he's doing his little whatever that is, and so he just doesn't get it, that every fucking thing you do has consequences that are right and wrong. And if you don't try to do the right thing, you don't even try. You're saying, no, your autonomy is, no, do whatever you want, you know. And even that's just so silly, because our wants are just viscerally moronic most of the time. I mean, once in a while we want to be edified and, you know, do some really profound thinkerizing, you know, but it's only once in a while. So, you know, and then most people aren't capable of doing any of it, because they haven't even gotten the God delusion out of their fucking heads. They haven't even gotten complete rubbish out of their brains. Piro. Ugh. So anyway, it's just pathetic. So anyway, that's it. I think that's enough. Don't have to go on and on and on. But I've sort of been over all this stuff, so yeah, I didn't make many videos last week, right? Just physics videos, I think. And, who knows what I'll do this week. But we've sort of been over this thing. You know, if you do any kind of philosophizing at all, you know, yeah, you're just going to, you don't need this big, thick book to figure out that your psychology is shit. Just turn your fucking brain around a little bit. Just try to swing your eyes around. Take a look inside of yourself. And you're not going to see anything good in there. You're really not going to see a single fucking thing that's any good. You're just going to see a scared, wanty little creepy bug that's trying to manipulate his way through this stuff called other sentient beings. And yes, it makes it a lot easier for you to slaughter them and kill them and malign them and shove them deeper into the quicksand. Yeah, you know, if you can create rationalizations that make them go away. Oh, they're not really sentient. They're only half sentient. That's synthetic feelings. You know, I mean, they had a whole conversation about, you know, AI, you know, Piro and Hothliday and the Turing bullshit, and, you know, this idea of just artificial consciousness in a sense, but intelligence / consciousness. The two things really don't have anything to do with each other. They really don't. I mean, feeling and thinking are different things. I know people can't understand that, but feeling and thinking are different fucking things. I'm not feeling right now. Tell you the truth, when I'm making these videos, when I'm doing this blah 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 blah, the brain's spilling out all this, I'm not doing any fucking feeling, really. Substantially, almost zero, you know, just very little. I'm processing gibberish, rational, blah, 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 word crappy associations. My brain is really busy saying, okay, let's see, I got to put a verb after a noun, and then I have to put a period somewhere in there, somewhere. I can't say anyway too many times, but I keep saying anyway too many times. That's what my brain's doing, okay? It's not doing this, me horny, me hungry, me too cold, me. No, it's not doing any of that shit at the moment. As soon as I'm done with the video, then I'll do all kinds of shit like that. So yeah, you don't need a big, thick book. You don't need to do much work at all, except just sit down, have a little quiet moment. Quiet for 30 seconds. Just say, be quiet for 30 seconds. You're going to think now. So clear yourself of all. Don't let any bullshit into your brain for a moment or two. Yeah, none of your personal agenda for a moment or two. Yeah, now we're going to start to think objectively about whether we're doing anything on this planet but fucking squeaking around like a goddamn cricket. Are we really doing anything other than cricketing? No, we're not. Or octopusing, or, whatever. Just pick some sort of creepy organism to compare yourself to. But that's all you are. You just don't even know how creepy you are. If you were any other kind of organism, you'd be looking at humans and going, oh man, what an ugly motherfucker. What are the creepiest fucking things. What is that between their legs? Anyway. So, now it's enough of a video, probably, mostly. So, yeah, I don't mean to, Schopenhauer just really pissed me. The one thing that really pissed me off is when I read his critique on women, because it was just so fucking cliche ignorant. And, I read his biography. So, yeah, that's the other book I have I didn't show. I read a biography. And it just seems like he was a victim of his own psychology. He had a real problem with mommy having control of the money after daddy jumped out a window. And it seems like just a lot of pettiness. That he just didn't like that, mommy wasn't giving him enough money to do his philosophizing. Anyway. But that's another critique of all these German fucktards. They never lived in the real world. They lived in the elitist world. And it's not the perfect perspective. I mean, it's a little bit of a difficult perspective for one to justify their declarations about what people should feel or think, when they haven't had to do any of this real, they've been coffee makers, they haven't been vacuum cleaners and, shit scrubbers and toilet bowls. They haven't been all the shitty appliances. They've got to be one of the better treated appliances. Anyway, I think third edition is probably the right edition. Anyway, probably enough. I'm just looking to see if there's some other little thing I could point to and go, oof, that was just awful. But it's all tedious. I watched some of that Magic Sandwich show, but that was just horrible. So anyway, till next time.